used the Trade Practices Act to smash the blockade by having it declared illegal in federal court. Brian Murray, National 9 News.
Major clean-up is underway along Melbourne's Mornington Peninsula after a huge oil spill. About 3,000 litres of light oil dumped in Port Phillip Bay quickly spread over 15 kilometres. Locals are being advised not to swim in waters between Rye and Portsea.
When we got here it was 7:30. The kids went swimming about 9:30. They come out and they were completely covered.
What, just covered in black oil?
Black oil, yep.
Yes, obviously some problems there. Apologies. Federal Treasurer Paul Keating will unveil the government's long-awaited wage tax policy in Canberra today. A key feature, a $130 million plan to give job training to those on the dole. Opposition leader Andrew Peacock is campaigning in Queensland, but is under pressure to reveal just how the coalition will find nearly $3 billion to fund its two-tier tax system. The nation's chemists plan to make their unresolved dispute, or rather try to take their unresolved dispute, part of the election issue. In Sydney overnight, more than 1,000 pharmacists pledged to door-knock marginal electorates. They hope the federal government will drop plans to cut dispensing fees. Similar protests will be held in Queensland and Victoria. And overseas, in the United States, a frozen lake has claimed 7 lives. The tragedy began when 4 teenagers escaped from a detention centre.
To 4 youths running away from a detention camp, the frozen lake in California's Sierra Nevada mountains looked like a course to freedom. Thin ice gave way, plunging them into freezing water. One of the teenagers scrambled to safety. The others were swept beneath the ice, along with 4 rescuers who tried to save them. The fierce winter storms have created chaos across the United States. Conditions made driving dangerous, with accidents littering the highways. A camera captured this spill. The driver was dazed, but uninjured. The southern states have suffered severe flooding, leaving 9 dead and forcing thousands from their homes. And in Berlin, thousands of onlookers cheered as an East German crane dismantled a 2-kilometre stretch of the historic wall. East Germany will sell the concrete to a West German businessman who plans to market it around the world.
Turn concrete into gold, into money for East Germany. They desperately need it.
Nick Grimm, National 9 News.
Speaking of money, now with the business news, our finance editor, Michael Pasco. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks, George. Wall Street is down 42 points this morning, and Australia discovers the Keating plan for its future today. But the main business news this morning is the welter of speculation about another round of bank mergers here, following Westpac's move to buy 7.5% of the ANZ. Westpac picked up the stake for $408 million from John Spalvin's Adelaide steamship, as that company moves to reduce its debt and restore market confidence. The move has sparked a predictable flurry of merger talk, just as the ANZ and National Australia Bank buying shares in each other did. Certainly Westpac has dealt itself into any rationalisation of the big 4 banks in this country, but I suspect any such move could be a long time coming yet, as there would be a great deal of public and political antipathy towards any merger, whoever wins the election. Of more immediate concern, the New York bond market weakened sharply overnight, the 30-year bond dropping 2 points. That's the equivalent of $20 for every $1,000 face value. That's affected all the markets. The US dollar is up against a weaker yen, down a bit against a stronger Deutschmark, with those 2 currencies dominating forex trading. The Aussie dollar has slipped back under 76 cents and therefore lost a bit on the cross rates as well. Gold has perversely gained $3.50 despite the higher US interest rates, but Wall Street has certainly felt the damage. The Dow now down nearly 43 points, with no sign of monetary easing coming from Alan Greenspan. London was doing all right until Wall Street fell out of bed. The FT100 finished 20 points down. Australian stocks there were also affected by the Wall Street performance. Most interest was in the banks, with the ANZ up 7 cents, the NAB up 4, and Westpac steady. Bougainville's dive continued. And amid all the confusion, Channel 7 has come clean on this performance. The network expects to lose $60 million this year, throwing into grave doubt those strange Quintex profit figures over the past couple of years. George.
Yeah, Michael. Cricket news and a thrilling 2-run victory to Pakistan in the World Series Cup at the SCG last night. Reduced to 49 overs, Pakistan set the Australians a target of 221. He top scored with 74, but Simon O'Donnell was the man who grabbed the man of the match honours.
Down there.
The last dress rehearsal before the finals, and Australian openers made the most of the Pakistan attack without injured Wasim Akram.
Fine shot. One bounce into the fence.
Mark Taylor was in full cry when he fell for 29.
It's gone. Caught behind.
The Australians pushed the run rate to 6.5, but it fell away following Dean Jones' dismissal for 10.
Well, good catch. Right.
Tom Moody was on song.
Good shot.
The lanky West Australian reached his half-century in the 25th over.
That's 50 for Tom Moody.
But Alan Border at the other end struggled and only rarely connected sweetly.
That was magnificently timed.
He made 26 before dragging Tosif Ahmed off his glove. Imran adjusted the attack, Waqar Yunus was banished to lighter duties, and he turned to leg spinner Mushtaq Ahmed to dismiss War and then Peter Taylor.
Imran almost belted his bat into the ground.
5 for 159. Opening bat then removed opening bat. Saweed Anwar lured Moody on 74. Needing 49 off 42 balls, O'Donnell made inroads, taking 10 off Mushtaq Ahmed in 1 over.
And that's a 6.
Chasing 4 runs in the final over, O'Donnell was trapped for 39 by Imran.
Close. He's got in. He's come.
Rackerman came and went scoreless, and then all hopes rested on Alderman. He waited 3 minutes for Imran's adjustments, and the Australian had to find 2 runs from the final ball.
And he's missed it. So it's all over. Great victory for Pakistan over...
Charles Christian, National 9 News.
Well, Brian Bury, we can't win every night, can we?
No, but 2 runs a bit of a worry. We could have run that. Thank you, George. And Eka, good morning to you. Eka's under the weather, so I'll just... How you going, mate? You all right? He's a bit crooky down there under the weather.
Oh,
all right. Oh, I've got to worry about him. Perth, today, fine, 32. Adelaide, fine, 33. Hobart, fine, mild northwest to southwesterly winds, 22. Melbourne, fine and warm, mostly sunny, 31. Cold front coming through. I think that'll change rather smartly. Canberra, fine, chance of a late thunderstorm, light to moderate northeast to northwesterly winds and 30. Sydney, warm, humid, lengthy sunny periods, northeasterly winds, 27 through to 31. And in Brisbane today, a few showers, some local thunder, moderate gusty southeast to easterly winds, 28. Townsville and Cairns still a bit showery, 32 and 33. Mount Isa sultry with thunderstorms developing, and 35, 37 very hot in the Alice, and up in Darwin today some late storms, and 33. That's how Australia looks at this time of the morning, but here's Liz.
Thank you, Brian. To the trucking dispute, and senior members of the Transport Workers Union are on their way to Wodonga this morning in an effort to try and encourage rebel truckies to lift their New South Wales Victorian blockade. The Queensland-New South Wales blockade is already breaking up. However, the impact of the dispute will probably intensify over the next few days due to existing shortages and lack of manufacturing materials. Food prices have already skyrocketed. For example, in Sydney, beans have risen by $3.50 a kilo in a week. Broccoli by almost $2.50 and potatoes by $2. Now, to find out more on the effects of the blockade, this report by Robin Wade.
The effect of the truckies' blockade. Ford at Homebush, Sydney. No components delivered, no cars completed, and no work. 3/4 of the staff have been laid off.
Those 600 employees will stay off the payroll as long as the blockades continue.
Unfortunately, that's the case. And of course, that means that many of them may decide not to come back.
All over New South Wales, the story is the same. Stand-downs and profit losses. In Ford's case...
Are we talking thousands or tens of thousands?
Oh, it'll be tens of thousands and amount much beyond that into hundreds in a fairly short period of time.
The blockades are also being blamed for shortages on our supermarket shelves. The Retail Traders Association would have us believe that most outlets are running out fast, even though looking around there doesn't appear to be an immediate problem.
The situation this morning is very parlous. What we've got is a number of lines, some 400 lines, which are just not available to the people of New South Wales.
Some grocery lines are out. Have you noticed?
Yes, I have. I haven't been able to find all the brands that I wanted.
Oh, nothing that I wanted, no. That's all there.
There's plenty of food stock, just large shortages of major lines. The ones to worry about, packaged foods and tin foods. Fresh food is still available, frozen food is gradually running out. Supermarkets had a respite from delivery worries last week, allowing them to restock. The problem is that half of New South Wales supplies come from interstate, particularly Victoria. Shelves may be stocked now, but warehouses are emptying.
What you see on the shelves is what there is available. There's nothing coming across the border. There has not been anything coming across the border now for a week and a half. The distribution centres are empty of those products, and as soon as it goes off the supermarket shelf, it's gone.
Same applies to Victoria.
It's the speculative buying of land and property in Australia.
In the United States, a frozen lake has claimed 7 lives. The tragedy occurred when a group of teenagers fell through thin ice. 4 rescuers also died.
Freezing Convict Lake is in eastern central California, a favored fishing spot in summer, a snowy, icy wonderland in winter. Yesterday, 3 teenagers from a nearby camp for troubled youngsters skated their way onto the lake, glided onto a thin patch of ice, and fell through. 4 adults, including 2 camp counselors, were the first to attempt rescues. But again, the lake's ice cover couldn't support them. Russ Benker was in the second wave of rescuers.
The next thing I knew that there were 3 individuals, adults, swimming towards me, and I rendered assistance.
But you could only pull one out.
Yes.
This morning, divers working from special boats are attempting to recover the 7 bodies. Much of the western U.S. has been gripped by ice and snow, making driving an adventure. The shaken driver emerged unhurt. In the United States, Bob Turlow, National 9 News.
A lot safer driver is Michael Pasco with the latest on the finance.
Thanks, George. And it's an extremely busy morning on the business round, starting with a sharp dive on the New York bond market, which we'll feel in our markets today. Our dollar has slipped below 76 cents again, with slight losses on the cross rates as well. But the big plunge is on Wall Street, where the Dow Jones Index is down nearly 35 points just before the close, and it was down 49 points earlier. Somewhat perversely, gold is up by $3.50. The Australian stock market won't like that Dow figure today, but traders will be perhaps more interested at first in Westpac buying 7.5% of the ANZ Bank from Adsteam for $408 million. They'll also be thinking about Rod Price resigning as chief executive of IEL and Malcolm Edwards dropping a bundle by failing to settle the purchase of 19% of Ariadne. And for idle speculation, you can always wonder what laws of mathematics Chris Skase used to claim profits when it's been disclosed the Channel 7 network will lose $60 million this year. Figures can be wonderful things. George.
Thank you, Michael. And in cricket, a thrilling 2-run victory to Pakistan in the World Series Cup at the SCG last night. Reduced to 49 overs, Pakistan set the Australians a target of 221. Tom Moody top scored with 74, but Simon O'Donnell grabbed the man of the match honours.
The last dress rehearsal before the finals, and Australian openers made the most of the Pakistan attack without injured Wasim Akram.
Fine shot. One bounce into the fence.
Mark Taylor was in full cry when he fell for 29.
It's gone. Caught behind.
The Australians pushed the run rate to 6.5, but it fell away following Dean Jones' dismissal for 10.
Well, good catch. Right.
Tom Moody was on song.
Good shot.
The lanky West Australian reached his half-century in the 25th over.
That's 50 for Tom Moody.
But Alan Border at the other end struggled and only rarely connected sweetly.
That was magnificently timed.
He made 26 before dragging Tosif Ahmed off his glove. Imran adjusted the attack, Waqar Yunus was banished to lighter duties, and he turned to leg spinner Mushtaq Ahmed to dismiss War and then Peter Taylor.
Imran almost belted his bat into the ground.
5 for 159. Opening bat then removed opening bat. Saweed Anwar lured Moody on 74. Needing 49 off 42 balls, O'Donnell made inroads, taking 10 off Mushtaq Ahmed in 1 over.
And that's a 6.
Chasing 4 runs in the final over, O'Donnell was trapped for 39 by Imran.
Close. He's got in. He's come.
Rackerman came and went scoreless, and then all hopes rested on Alderman. He waited 3 minutes for Imran's adjustments, and the Australian had to find 2 runs from the final ball.
And he's missed it. So it's all over. A great victory for Pakistan over...
Charles Christian, National 9 News.